Global climate patterns have been significantly influenced by the consistent and increased demand for fossil fuels, which as a result releases high quantities of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. This increase in atmospheric carbon dioxide has consequently increased sea surface temperatures, altered salinity and terrestrial runoff of sediments and nutrients, enhanced rainfall and storm variability, and has strongly influenced ocean acidification. Higher levels of carbonic acid caused by the carbon dioxide reacting with the water leads to lower pH levels in the ocean water, which is essentially ocean acidification. The overall reaction looks like this. The effects of ocean acidification are expected to disturb a great amount of marine ecosystems by destructing foundational organisms and in particular their exoskeletons. Many marine invertebrates use calcium carbonate in their exoskeletons, distinctly the living corals that make up the vast diversity of reef habitats. Calcium carbonate is basic, therefore has a high pH. When the ocean becomes increasingly acidic, it dissolves the calcium carbonate, such as the exoskeletons of many marine species. Majority of the studies to date have been done in controlled environments and have focused on the short-term effects. However, early 2011, an article was published by Fabricus and others who conducted a research experiment to test this hypothesis by observing long-term effects of oceanic acidification on coral reef ecosystems located near the volcanic seeps in Papua New Guinea. The researchers observed 3 tropical coral reef communities where carbon dioxide levels were high and the pH of the seawater was significantly low. Comparing plant and animal life near these seeps, they observed the surrounding water where the pH was moderately low, around 7.7 to 8. The seawater at the 3 adjacent reef control sites had an average pH of 8.1 relative to today's climate. The moderately acidified sites were found to have a lower overall biodiversity. There was a substantial shift in species composition divided from the more structurally complex corals and crustose algae towards porites and fleshy macroalgae that aren't as dependent on calcium carbonate for their structures. Sites with a lower pH similarly had slower growing corals, which demonstrates that they were less resilient to disturbance. Structurally, the corals lack diversity, which provides fewer niches for organisms that rely on coral structures. The sites nearest the active vents had a pH of less than 7.7, which was far too acidic for the survival of any coral species. An article published late 2011 by Kenneth Kleypas and Gattuso assimilates the work published by Fabricus and fellow authors by confining the research from whole coral reef communities to specific factors within the biome. The authors looked at using a carbon flux model for photosynthesis, respiration, calcification, and dissolution, and analysed how important calcifiers and primary producers contribute to the carbonate system in seawater. The results showed comparisons to the work earlier published, however explored targeted areas of concern. Aside from ocean acidification, coral reefs face numerous environmental and anthropogenic threats that affect the survival of many marine species that share a symbiotic relationship with the reefs. Reefs are vulnerable to natural disasters and runoff from agricultural regions. This data, however, shows evidence that the increased carbon dioxide emissions are creating profound losses to the reef environment and rapidly changing the future of the coral reef ecosystem.